I didn't know my wife was genuinely racist. I always thought it was just jokes until now. My wife doesn't like white or black people. She is South Asian. She only has friends that are from some kind of Asian background. She says all white people are divorced and thinks every one of them are the stereotype trailer park trash, probably because of the state we live in. My wife is scared of white men because she thinks all of them are stalkers or child lovers. I think she had past trauma because I know she does have 2 restraining order against 2 white males from when she was younger. She also doesn't like black people due to their culture. Few nights ago, I was reading a news story about a robbery and a killing, and before I showed her the news story she said I bet it's the usual suspects. She looked at the story and said of course I'm right. I definitely know for a fact that she trauma with blacks because her family has their own business and it's only been robbed by black people. It's been robbed more times than we can remember and all of the robbers were black. Also, my wife's 5-year-old cousin was a victim of gun violence back in 2015 caused by a black man. In front of a temple he shot her cousin in the leg, survived thankfully. This is why she has hate in her heart due to trauma and bad experiences. She doesn't like black culture. She worked with some coworkers who were black and her coworkers were asking her when she's going to have kids already. Wife said I'm only engaged, why would I have kids when I'm not even married yet? Her black coworkers got offended because they are all single moms or come from a single mother household, and they basically got sassy and defensive and said you don't need a man to have a child, or I didn't have a daddy, you don't need a man to have a kid. My wife said well that sounds like a recipe for disaster but good luck to you. She came home and told me that her coworkers are ghetto and ratchet. She says they all come from a toxic baby mama and baby daddy culture. She claims she never met one civilized black person that was actually not a bad person and is a good example, like married first before having children and have a good education background and no crime history, and she said that's like looking for a needle in a haystack. She thinks they are all bad people and it's a rarity to find a good kala. She works in health and sometimes she has a list of patients where she asks general questions on the phone, for example confirm their address, age, health conditions, marital status. Whenever she gets a black caller on the phone, she can tell by the voice or name by the race. She already checks single for marital status before she asks. She just asks after she checks single just to confirm. She always says wow it is rare to find a black person who is actually married, but then they have like 4 kids by a bunch of random men. She claims she never met a married black person before. She said her one coworker has always been engaged forever and they also just had a baby too when they haven't even set the wedding date yet. My wife judges them for this and she thinks her coworker is delusional, thinking she will ever get married. She also thinks black culture is exactly what Sexy Red portrays it to be. She always is looking up statistics and saying she doesn't want our family near black people because she's scared they'll rob us, hurt us and our kids, or be a bad influence and turn them into thugs. She doesn't want our kids badly influenced by other races, bad cultures breaking down of the family unit. We are moving now that we're ready to buy a house and my wife is more worried about looking into race demographics of the town we live in due to safety reasons. She says coincidentally the crime rate is lower for X town since there's no black people there. She wants to be around her own community or at least an Asian dominated town with a good community because she doesn't want our kids to deal with her past trauma. I am not white. I am also South Asian. It's not accepted to marry outside of our race/culture/religion in our community. My wife would definitely never marry out of her race anyways, especially with the strong prejudice she holds.